Okay. Kia ora, Mahara Open Forum de kōne no suru ki kai o atai te itaraki arigato gozaimasu. Unei no katagata tokuni kubota-san to osawa-san ni kokoro kara ore moshi agimasu. Mahara project to kotonaru kakuro kara ko satoshi user ga kono software ni dono yona eikyo o atareru koto ga dekiru ka ni tsuite o hanashi shitai to omoimasu. Gojitsuma ga areba saigo ni okotai itashimasu. Okay. Yes. Okay. And oops. Hopefully, can you still see that? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much again for having me today at the first day of the Mahara Open Forum. And as you all probably already know, Mahara means to think. And that is a very fitting name for an e-portfolio software, because what we do within Mahara is that we create content, and that is all lots of different content from artifacts like text, journals, but also movies, audio, and other file formats that we can use in order to create our portfolio. And portfolios can take lots of different shapes, so you can use it for presentation purposes, employment purposes, or also professional development. Once you've created a portfolio, you can also share it with others. And that's the beauty of an online portfolio, because you can share it very easily with other people, may they peers, or also employers who want to take a look at your portfolio, or also just friends. But the nice thing especially about Mahara is also that you can engage other people in your portfolio and also create portfolios together with others, so that you can work together and collaborate on your portfolio creation. And today I'm not going to talk about the features of Mahara and what you can actually do with the software, because there's going to be a lot of that directly at the Mahara Open Forum by other presenters. But what I'd like to focus on today is actually the people. Because while Mahara is software, it is created by people and for people. And people, every single user, every single one of you in the room, are part of the community and make the software what it is today and what it will be in the future. So let's take a look at some of the ways of how you can contribute to the Mahara project itself in somewhat easy ways, and at some point, and also sometimes more difficult ways depending on your capabilities and what also your interests are. So a very easy way to start off with how you can contribute to Mahara is by helping out in the forum. If you have a question, put it into the forum to let other people know, and you will get an answer in most cases. Or if you know how to solve a problem that somebody already stated in the forum, please do not shy away from answering the question. Contribute in the forums so that other people can learn from your knowledge. Another way of helping out in the community is to write for the Mahara user manual. By making screencasts or just creating screenshots of functionality that you see, or simply also by contributing handouts and worksheets that you may have already created for some of your students in showing them how to use Mahara. We are always looking for tips and tricks that can help others as well in working with the software and also understanding why they should be using an online system for creating their portfolios. Another easy way of contributing is by reporting bugs. for that, you do not need to have any sort of technical knowledge, because all you need to know is that if you see a problem, that you can post it on our bug tracker so that the development community can look into fixing things. That doesn't mean that everything can get fixed immediately, I'm afraid, but it does mean that somebody can take a look at it and either answer your question if it's an easy fix that just concerns your Mahara installation, or we put it into our queue of things to fix, and then of course see that we fix as many problems that users have as possible. But you don't just have to report things that go wrong, but you can also report things that you would like to see in Mahara. Because we are not creating the software just so that we have software, but we are creating the software for you as users. You want to work with it. Sometimes you have to work with it, but most often, hopefully, you do want to work with it and with your students, so that you can suggest new features which will make your life easier in working with Mahara and also in creating the portfolios that you would like to create. And again, for this, you do not need to have any technical knowledge, just your imagination and your ideas. And part of suggesting new features is also to participate in surveys. In this case, you would normally see some notes there of suggestions that people have made for Mahara. And this is our Blue Sky Thinking Padlet that we had created and that is still online for you to fill in and suggest new features, or give us also feedback on general things that you would like to have changed. And a lot of times suggesting new features also means that you work together with others, that you collaborate with others. A very recent example of where that worked really well was the collaboration between Southampton Solent University in the UK with Pace University in New York. They got together to talk about usability in Mahara and what they would like to change themselves, and what they would also like to have changed in Mahara on a wider scale. And so they've been discussing changes for a number of times. They met online because they are just both on the other side of the Atlantic. And so they were not able to meet in person, but they did have a number of online sessions and sent screenshots and support material across the Atlantic and worked together to come up with a plan of how to make changes in their own environments. And because they were talking to each other, they could validate their ideas and thoughts, and already knew that other people might also be interested in what they were thinking, and therefore have a good understanding of, yes, this would also be a very good idea for other people. And therefore, eventually, we made a change for Mahara 1.10 already based on their suggestions. And that was a really useful collaboration between those two universities, because it also helps us within the development team to see that we need to make a change, because it does not just come from one person, but it is also coming from other people. And therefore we have a better understanding of the direction to go into. Another nice way of contributing to Mahara, especially if you are interested in languages and want to offer Mahara also in Japanese or any other languages that you speak, is to translate. And again, no technical knowledge is needed, because you can just go to our online translation tool and type in the kanji, and if you want to contribute to other languages, the other translations. we are in a very lucky position that with Mitsun, we have a very perfect translator who translates Mahara always fully, and therefore the Japanese translation is always one of the best translated language packs, so that you can use pretty much everything that you see in Mahara in Japanese. And that helps also, of course, to grow the community within Japan, because it might be easier for some people to use the software in Japanese rather than in English. Once our developers have created new features or changed things in Mahara, it is also important to test these features. And that oftentimes just means getting a patch from our review system and clicking through and making sure that the fix that the developer created actually solves the problem and fixes it. And so that means testing just on the front end in the browser and making sure that everything still works. Now we are getting to a few things that are more for the developers amongst you, because you also have a very important role in the project in the sense of fixing bugs. And bugs does not mean that these problems need to be big ones. Those can just be tiny, tiny problems. But every problem is a problem, and therefore it is also great to fix tiny things and make sure that everything works as it should be. And fixing bugs can be done quite easily, because all you need to do is fix the issue and then submit it to our review system, and then other developers can give feedback on the fix that you made, and then once everyone is happy with it, it gets implemented in the system. But we don't just fix problems, but also create new features. And developing new features is a really, really important thing in Mahara, because it means that the software evolves, that it becomes better, that it gets new functionality. And that's how we always release new Mahara versions. You might have already seen that we just released the release candidate 1 for Mahara 1.10. We just published that on Thursday, and that includes approximately 35 new features. And these features are small fixes and big ones. And if you have questions about some of those features, I'm happy to answer them at the end of the presentation, and also go through a few of them if you are interested. So we have very small fixes, so that, for example, just a notification gets sent, but also big ones, like being able to export submitted portfolio pages. Now we are getting to a different area of contributing to the project, and sorry, that is still the development, and that is developing plugins. While you may not always want to contribute to the core project because you have special requirements for your users, you can contribute them still to the community and make them available, and publish them on the website and let everyone know what kind of plugin you have contributed. And going to events like the Mahara Open Forum is a great way to publicize any of the work that you have done within Mahara or for Mahara. But of course, also the organizers are great community contributors, because putting on an event like the Mahara Open Forum takes a lot of time and also takes a lot of work. So I'd also like to acknowledge, as community contributors, the event organizers who make it happen that you as users can meet with each other and exchange opinions and ideas about the software and also your use of Mahara. Another sort of event that we have are Mahara user groups. And those are get-togethers and gatherings of users on a smaller scale than a conference or an unconference. And so far we have user groups in New York, Germany, Scotland, Southeast England, and just very recently, since the 15th of September, also New Zealand. And anybody can create a Mahara user group and meet in their hometown, or you can also meet online. There is no official or formal process of organizing events or organizing Mahara user groups, but anyone can do them and just get started and get together with other users so that you can talk to each other and see how you can help each other out. And another possibility of contributing to the project is to write for the newsletter. Our newsletter is published 4 times a year and contains many different things from the community. We have event announcements about new development work, but primarily we have case studies and little articles from users telling everyone about the things they are using Mahara for and how they are approaching their use with students, adult learners, or also on their own. And so writing for the newsletter is a very good way of also telling your story, letting others know what great things you are doing with Mahara, how you're using it, and also sharing that so that others can contact you and find out more. This is also one way of how Solent University and Pace University got together, because they learned about each other through the newsletter, through articles that Solent University had published, and therefore already got a first point of contact to talk to each other and know that they have common interests. So if you are interested in writing for the newsletter, the next issue is coming up really shortly, namely on the 1st of October, so next Wednesday. And you can still submit articles until the 29th of September, so until Monday. And if you cannot make this deadline, then the next newsletter will be published on the 1st of January next year, where the deadline is the 23rd of December. And you can send articles directly to me or to newsletter@mahara.org. And last but not least, a very easy way of contributing to the project is by simply spreading the word. Telling others about how you use electronic portfolios with Mahara, showing them how you use the software, showing them what your students do with the software, showing examples, and just engaging other people and making them interested in Mahara, showing things so that they can decide whether they would like to become part of the community and use the software. So I would like to thank you my translator of the slides and also the introduction, who is Masao Gino from the University of Canterbury, a Mahara user here in New Zealand. And I'd also like to thank Chris Cormack from the Koha project. Koha is an integrated library management system, who came up with the title and made it, and has used a similar title also for a presentation of his. And I thought it was very fitting for the presentation that I was giving today. And so if you want to contact me, please do not hesitate to send an email or contact me via Twitter. Thank you.